today we're gonna be doing grass-fed ribeyes. And we've got a ribeye rack here with 2 bones in it, so we've almost got a prime rib. But today we're gonna be seasoning this up, little salt, pepper, garlic. We're gonna actually impregnate some garlic into the roast, and then we're gonna slow smoke it on the Weber kettle. So stick around, roll that intro. Barbecue in Bottles here, and if you're new to this show, we do simple step-by-step recipes to making great barbecue in your own backyard. So if you're into that thing, why don't you go ahead, hit the subscribe button below. We release a new video every Saturday morning around 9 a.m. Eastern. So let's get started on this ribeye. What we're gonna do, first we've got salt, pepper, and garlic just mixed up into even portions here. So we're just gonna mix those together, just like that. Give this a good little mix. And we're gonna come in and just give a generous coating all around the ribeye. Don't worry, we're gonna use this garlic later, so if it gets a little salt, pepper, and garlic on it, all the better. And don't be worried about over seasoning this, folks. We've got a really thick cut of meat here, and it's gonna be next to impossible to over season this. So now that we've got the garlic powder, pepper, and salt on, what you're gonna wanna do, we've obviously got a lot that's fallen off the board here, so just make sure you've got a real nice thick coat by rolling your roast around. Next, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get this garlic into the roast. So we're gonna take a little herring knife and just make some holes like that all around, maybe an inch apart. And then we're gonna come in with some of this garlic. Just jam the cloves down in there. This is gonna add a really incredible garlic flavor to the ribeye as it smokes over the course of the next 2-ish hours here. So you wanna not just get the sides sliced in with garlic, but you wanna get the top done here as well. And you know, I'm a huge garlic fan, so you do this to taste, but for me, the more the merrier. We're doing this video up at the cottage this weekend, so if you hear any sea-doos buzzing around on the lake, I apologize for that, but you know, you can't stop people from having fun. They're having a blast out there whizzing around. So we're just finishing up on the last side here. We've really put a ton of garlic into this. We put an entire bulb of cloves in, so this is gonna taste wonderful. We're gonna get the regular beefiness, the salt, pepper, garlic seasoning, but then we're gonna get the added flavor of the smoke. We're gonna put apple wood on the grill, and we're gonna get the added flavor of having real garlic cloves stuffed into this. Now that we got that ready to go, we're gonna let this sit here for about an hour, let the seasoning really absorb into the ribeye. So let's go fire up the grill in the meantime. So today's cook, we're gonna be using the Weber kettle, and we've just got a 22-inch here. This has been pretty trustworthy for us over the years. So we've got a chimney set up. We crumpled some newspaper up under the bottom. Now we're just gonna fill it up with lump. Just like that, light some of the newspaper under the chimney. Make sure you light in a couple of spots all the way around. Perfect. Now we're going to let that go for about 10 or 15 minutes until we see red burning charcoal all the way through. Now we're about 15 minutes after we lit this and the charcoal's ready to go. So what we're gonna do, dump that on one side. And we're gonna get an indirect cooking zone with a direct cooking zone going here. All right, so we've got the charcoal over on one side. We're gonna set down the grate. We're gonna put on our trusty thermometer here. We're gonna wanna get that up to around 250 to 275 for our cook. So let's put the lid back on and we'll check back in here in about 5 minutes to see if we're up to temp. So we've had this heating up for about 5 minutes. You'll see we're at 275, so we've got the grill good and hot. Now let's go get the ribeye or the prime rib and toss that on. So now let's get the ribeye on there. So we're gonna put it on the indirect side of the grill, just like that. And of course, we're cooking to temp here. So we're gonna put in a thermometer right into the thickest part of the roast, just like that. And we're gonna wanna cook until the internal temp on this hits about 130, 135, and that's when we'll take it off. We're gonna put our smoking wood right on the charcoal now, so we're using a little bit of fresh maple. A maple tree actually fell in our neighbor's yard, so they offered to give it to us, and we cut it up into all these little chunks, so we've got some fresh maple wood for smoking. Next, when you put the lid on, make sure you put the holes on the top of your kettle over on the side of the meat. That way, the smoke's gonna come up over top of the kettle, go over your roast, and then out here, and it'll just make for a smokier flavor in the whatever it is that you're cooking. And we're gonna be cooking with the vents open, max on top and max on the bottom. And we're gonna check back in here in about a half an hour and see how we're progressing on the temperatures. All right, we're an hour into our cook here and the internal temp's reading 105 degrees. So let's open up the lid, see how things are coming along. Oh, look at that. We're already starting to get a great crust form. We've got a bit of the reddish hue from the smoke. So we're gonna put this lid back on. We still got enough heat coming out of here. Yep, for sure, still got enough heat coming out of there. So we'll let this roll for probably another half hour to 45 minutes, and we'll take this off when it hits 130 to 135. So we've just hit 135 on the internal temp. So we're gonna take this bad boy off and let it rest for about a half an hour before we cut into it. Oh, just look at that. Got some great bark that's formed on the outside. You can see the smoke flavor, some of that redness that's already absorbed into the roast, and the garlic. Oh, that's gonna be perfect. So we've had this resting for about 30 minutes at this point. And one of the tricks that I'm not sure if you noticed on our cook here, but we didn't rotate the prime rib at all. And the reason we didn't is we have some people in the family that like it medium rare. We have others that like it a little more well done, and some that like it even rare than medium rare. So if you don't turn it, then you end up having a prime rib that's a little bit more well done on one side and goes all the way to the lower end of rare on the other side, or the lower end rather of medium rare on the other side, and there's a little bit of something for everyone. So let's dive into this guy. We're gonna cut it open, see how it turned out. So we're gonna get our big carving knife ready here, and we're just gonna come down the middle. See how this turned out. Oh, look at that. I wish you could smell this. You can smell the smoke, you can smell the garlic. This is gonna turn out really well. So there you have it, folks. People are gonna be pretty pleased with this tonight at dinner. Anyway, if you like this video, make sure you give us a like below, subscribe to the channel, and make sure you don't miss any of our future videos. We release new ones every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. Eastern. Thanks for tuning in. Later this night, we took a little bit of prime rib over to our neighbors, and here's what they had to say about it.